Good morning, everybody. Dave Finale here. This is Real Estate Talk TGIF, episode 195, and it's 192 weeks in a row. We've got the great Hector Diaz, an old friend of mine from the old Century 21 days here. Good morning, Hector. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Doing great, Dave. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome, man. I'm so excited to get started, but you know what? We got to start with a video, so let's rock it.
Let's do it.
Real estate agent, are you looking to acquire clients consistently so you can grow your business and your income to live a great lifestyle? This is Dave Finale and the RE Skill Builder podcast.
All right, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Here we are again. It's it's March 4th, 2022. I get my dates all screwed up. It's already 2 months plus into the new year of 2022. And I guess we don't say Happy New Year anymore. I guess that's kind of done. But you know what? Here we are. We're at another episode here. We're cruising toward 200. And then the actual 4-year anniversary will be let's see, it should be 208, but it'll be 211 since we've had 3 extra shows. Hector, good morning. How are you today?
Doing awesome. Feeling great.
Great. So I gotta ask you the one question I ask everybody, and please don't feel bad if you get it wrong, but the question is, what does TGIF stand for?
Thank goodness it's Friday.
Man, you're so close. You're so close, but so far away. Thank God it's finale. I mean, what else would it be? I mean, here it is, here we are starting another brand new broadcast, and we're moving forward. Okay, man. So here it is. We are starting here and getting going. So look, think status. You're doing all these other things. Tell me how you got started. You got into real estate. You did a lot of different things. Talk to me about it, and also training and coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I started out as a executive assistant at a mortgage bank. That was my first job in the real estate industry. Before that, I was in restaurants and kind of struggling my way through college and through traveling. I traveled the world before I even got into my career. Lived in Switzerland for 3 years, and then got a job as an executive assistant at a mortgage bank, and helping them like place ads on Craigslist and help them with recruiting and stuff like that. And then after that, I ended up going to I was a technology recruiter for one of the nation's largest recruiting firms called Tech Systems. And I don't know if they're still around. I think they are, but they were one of the nation's largest technology recruiting firms. And after that, it was just super, super corporate. So I didn't like the vibe there. So yeah, from there, I kind of just was struggling, basically. I went back to restaurants, and then I went from working in restaurants to getting a job at a local real estate company because of my recruiting background. And they had me recruiting people at a local level. But in addition to recruiting, I noticed there was some holes that the broker wasn't doing. And that was our mutual friend, Michael Schaller. So Michael Schaller had hired me as a recruiter to hire people for working in a real estate company at a local level. And then I noticed that nobody was using social media or digital marketing. And this is back in 2009. And so I asked him, like, within my first month or two of working there, I was like, hey, would it be okay if I started teaching on like how to place an ad on Craigslist and how to use like Zillow.com or Realtor.com, like things people weren't really too familiar with, but and just I started training on technology. Right. And it started off with like Craigslist and like telling people about other people like nobody, like Craig Proctor, and I would talk about Brian Buffini. I would talk about all these other great trainers that I was exposed to early in my career. One other tech mortgage company that I worked for that was really on the cutting edge was Loan Toolbox. And so they had this digital platform that was so innovative at the time. And for the people who know Loan Toolbox, I mean, they were on the cutting edge of online marketing and mortgage companies. And so I got a lot of training in technology and digital. And then I started teaching these real estate agents how to use technology to grow their business. And I did it so long. I've been doing it for over a decade. But my main point in how I work for 2 Fortune 500 companies. But the way I got found out was through at the local level at Century 21 Adobe here in Newbury Park. My business consultant came and she saw me do a presentation to the agents. And then, and back then it was just like adding QR codes and teaching people about what QR codes were and why they were important. And so she had me teach a QR code mailer strategy back in 2009 at the corporate level in front of like 300 brokers and managers and owners of real estate companies, because that's what I was kind of doing for my broker. And so it was pretty awesome. And then 6 years after that, I got hired at the corporate level.
Right.
I worked for Century 21 Corporate. I think it was for around another 6 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after Century 21, I went to Berkshire Hathaway. It took them 2 years to recruit me from Century 21, but we did it. And it was a great experience, great management, great team. I just felt it was time for me to go on my own. And that's what I did. I went out on my own and I started doing digital marketing consulting and business consulting as an independent, based on my experience and based on the amount of clients that work with thousands of agents, around the nation and even across the world. I got, one of the great honors of my career was getting invited to teach to the top 21 companies of Century 21 of Mexico. And I delivered a whole presentation on the intersection of social media, digital marketing, and real estate.
Right.
For the top 21 owners of all of Mexico.
Right.
And then the last thing I'll share about my story is, at least right now, is getting invited to teach at UCLA was a great honor as well.
Oh, that's amazing. It's a great career. It is all based on basically how you and I actually met in the old Century 21 days with Century 21 Adobe, was all about technology and growing your business that way. And you mentioned QR codes, and you started teaching QR codes when nobody knew what the hell they were.
Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't think they were worth anything. I thought they were worthless. And as you know, they kind of like sort of disappeared for a long time until this thing we had a couple of years ago start, like COVID, right? And now it's like, okay, we're back.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
So talk to me about the start of anywhere people should start, as far as, we talked about online training, online building of a presence. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So it all starts with profile optimization. That's one of the first modules I teach when working with a client. I do customized consulting on 3 different levels. At the broker level, so if you're owner of a real estate company, if you're a manager at one of those companies, or if you're a sales associate, a sales agent, a real estate agent at any of these companies. I also do consulting, at a national level on digital marketing. Last year, I worked for a mortgage company on their national digital marketing strategy and giving the key leaders and the vice presidents and stuff like that insights on how to best build their digital marketing strategy. And the first thing I usually always teach is profile optimization. And what that means is making sure all of your information is correct on every single platform that you're on, whether it's your MLS. I usually start with your MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You want to optimize your profile, which means just making sure all your stuff is in order and in line. So making sure you have your correct email, phone number, website, picture, congruent across all of the networks that you're using to work on your business.
Yeah, that's the one thing that a lot of people don't understand, that, different images of yourself. I mean, people want to see what you look like. And honestly, they don't want your prom picture. They want to see what you look like today. It's one of the things that I'm really big on. And still to this day, I see so much of it happening. And then you see pictures that someone is completely either doctored or they're made up or whatever. And it just does not look like that person when you meet them in person. And that's really important. And consistency across all channels is also important.
Yeah,
so
huge.
you call this profile optimization. Tell me why it's optimization, why it's just like common sense.
It's common sense nowadays, but back when I was teaching this stuff, I mean, it's exactly what you said, just random pictures on different websites, different information on different things, nobody paying attention to what they should be doing to get leads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And it starts with optimizing your profile on the networks that you're using.
Right. So, okay. So when we talk about Let's talk about the brokerage digital platforms. Okay, so we've
Mhm.
talked a little bit about agents being consistent across the platform, and you've worked with brokerages on the brokerage level, manager level, agent level. So let's start talking about the brokerage level and what's
Okay.
important there for a brokerage or a team leader
In regards to what?
in regards to online presence.
Okay. Yeah. So as an owner, you want to make sure your company is properly established on, like Google My Business, for example. You want to make sure that you have, a Yelp profile is recommended based on the availability that and the integration that iPhones have with it. So if you were to pull up an iPhone, I'm sure you know this already, Dave, but if you were to ask Siri, show me the best real estate company in name your city, it'll pop
Right,
up Yelp results, right?
right.
And Google as well. So you want to make sure your Google profile set up and your Yelp result is also your Yelp page is also optimized. Yelp also has paid features that you can use, just as Google does as well. So those are the
So
two main ones.
what is would you recommend people using the paid features, or is it just something however they just want to get started and just use the, like we say, 0 to 60, start at 0 and then ramp it up?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 0 to 60 all the way. And then it really comes down to the budget that the company has to market their
Right.
business, right? Everybody knows, or a lot of people should know that, according to the California Association of Realtors, 80 or 90% of business comes from repeat and referral business, right? So the social media stuff, and I've always taught this since I started teaching on digital marketing. Digital marketing is just like the icing on the cake. It's not
Right.
the cake. The cake is your daily habits and your constant um, connection with your database of people, your sphere of influence, right? People that know you, like
Right.
you, trust you. Those are the people that are your bread and butter. But in order to build that, sometimes you need to do things online to grow your presence, to grow a following, so that you can basically pre-sell your services by consistently making video, consistently creating content like podcasts like we're on like now, or Facebook posts, Instagram posts, LinkedIn, etc.
How important is it for, okay, so let me preface the question. I
Mhm,
believe that the old style, quote unquote, of brokerages
mhm,
is really not brokerages of the future. The way they're set up, the models they're set up, my personal opinion is that the franchise brand, the way most of them have been set up over the past 10, 20, 30 years, I believe
mhm.
it's an obsolete model. I really do. So how does a new brokerage such as that transition to the future and a non-obsolete model through digital platforms?
There's so many ways. And that's really what the biggest challenge in my business has been, because I've worked for these traditional big brokerages, and I know companies like EXP and other, like, there's a bunch of independents that are kind of springing up nowadays that are helping. That are helping integrate the technology. But that's the thing. Like, I built my career, I built my career on helping these old style companies to adapt to the new way of doing business. So I know you might think it's obsolete, but the people who are owners and managers and agents out of these old style companies, they're still relevant in the sense that they're still helping people. And like I
Yes.
said earlier, with regards to the sphere of influence, if you're an owner of a real estate company, or if you're a salesperson within that company, fact of the matter is, people are going to do business with you because they have
A
a sincere
relationship,
connection with you. Yeah.
right?
And so, even though the model from our standpoint, being in the industry for over I don't know how many decades you got, but I know at least over 1 decade. um, the fact of the matter is, the business, the 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 company that you're with is ancillary. It's just addition to what you've already established with your connections online, offline, and demonstrating your expertise through time, right? So
Right.
so to adapt to the current technology, it's like, it really, it depends on the leadership of the organization that you're affiliated with. In my experience, right? You got a great leader at the helm of a
Right.
of a company that you're affiliated with. You'll be able to make money no matter where you're at, because you're getting clear information that you can take action on.
Right, exactly. So when I ask that question, it's basically prefaced on the belief that I have. Oh, and by the way, I touch 6 decades in real estate. I hate to admit
Nice.
that's true, but But here's the point is that we've gone from agent, broker, office, broker, agent centric, right?
Mhm.
We've the
Mhm.
whole cycle. I don't think it's ever
Yeah.
going back to the company, but now we're more agent centric and maybe
Mhm.
team centric. Let's face
Yeah.
it, a team is just what a team was when it started was a mini brokerage
That's
inside a
right.
broker,
That's
right?
right.
Now it's, with the teams that some of my friends have, like Dan Beer and Kenny Trung of Fast Real Estate.
Yep.
I mean, those are huge organizations.
Yep.
And so the point I make is that it's more agent centric than it is broker centric. And I believe the reason is because the agent didn't have all that weight on their shoulders of owning a brokerage.
Yeah. Yeah. It basically took it away. The EXP model took the old model away. It's awesome.
Right. And it's just a matter of being able to do that. So then we go to
Mhm.
the manager. Let's talk about the agent, because that's really what we're talking about. The agent building themselves up. They're getting into the business today and they need to build up their business. They need to get there quickly.
Mhm.
What's the best online strategy for a brand new agent coming up and going quickly?
I mean, it's video. It's creating videos on a consistent basis. If you can figure out TikTok, I'd start there and then move it to other platforms like YouTube. YouTube was my like go-to. YouTube is like the go-to place to create long form video, and Instagram is underneath that. Those would be the top three places, and then coming into fourth place would be LinkedIn. I put LinkedIn above Facebook, just because of now Facebook is like a pay to play strategy now. So if you want to really get results with Facebook, you just pay an ad, and like the organic reach isn't the way it used to be.
Right.
Instagram still has it, and they're trying to compete with TikTok. The beautiful thing about TikTok is you can go viral with one video that you make that's funny. Like I have one of my friends who I played hockey with. This guy made one TikTok video. It got like, I don't know how many, at least 10,000 views, maybe more. But I was just blown away by he just made one video on one channel and he just had so much exposure to it. And that's kind of all it did. And it had
It's
nothing to do
amazing.
with real estate. It was just kind of a funny like trip in LA, and the guy's a funny guy, so I watched it. I was like blown away by that. And but this, I know a lot of new agents that are building a following on TikTok because
Right.
they're letting their personality shine. They're doing funny things. They're adapting to trends and implementing them in their business and to the real estate conversation, the lexicon, people talking about just doing silly things and fun things and really connecting with their audience. And in a very short amount of time, it's phenomenal to see.
Well, that's the most important thing is connection, right? Is
Yeah.
connecting with the audience. I want to just get back on one thing you just said. You said something about, and LinkedIn would be number 4. I've always thought, and please correct me if I'm wrong and straighten me out
Yeah.
here, that most real estate agents have a LinkedIn profile because someone told them to have a LinkedIn
Mhm.
profile,
Yeah.
and
That's
they,
probably.
you try to message them, and you might hear back from them in 3 months.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, a real message that's not a marketing message or a
Mhm.
recruiting message of any kind.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to me about that, and how do you change that? How does an agent be able to get more noticed on LinkedIn?
I mean, there's some great tools. Zapier is a great app to connect these different notifications. I mean, you already have email notifications set up inside of LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and stuff
Right.
like that. So when people mention you or talk about you or send you I mean, I turn those off, but there's like apps that you can use to kind of really take control of those. Zapier is one of them. But in general, it's just a matter of caring, right? Caring for your audience, caring for the audience that you have on these different networks.
Right.
And it might seem overwhelming if you're just starting out into the digital marketing space, but having a consistent like daily routine at the beginning of the day or middle of the day, whenever you decide to check your social media status, profiles, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, there's all these red little notifications.
Right.
And when you're checking those and clearing them out every day, you restart every day. Like every day, it's a new day for you to, see who's messaged you. And I know a lot of people haven't paid attention to their social media, or they just forgot about it or whatever. The fact of the matter is, if you pay attention, the people that are engaged on the platform will connect. You will connect with someone. You will build a relationship with them. I mean, I'm connected with some extraordinary influencers worldwide on my social platforms. And I've been like Tony Robbins and I are connected on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Like I remember when he was managing his own accounts, and it's fun to see, right? People like Gary Vaynerchuk, he follows me on Twitter. We met in person and he said he was going to follow me on LinkedIn as well. But anyway, it's a side note. The main point I'm trying to make is like, if you pay attention to these networks, you can, number one, connect with others. And number two, engage with them, right? But it's up to you to build and maintain that relationship. Like you and I wouldn't be here, I don't think, if we weren't connected on social media, because we see each other's posts and we've been connected for at least a decade. And you're one of my like OG original friends that I met at one of the conferences and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's the fundamental concept of staying connected with your audience and enriching those connections through time.
Absolutely. And the reason that you and I are here is because of our connection, our recent reconnection through Instagram, right?
Yeah.
And that's how we reconnected, because just to let everybody know, to say that there's some proof, is that I have engaged a lot more in Instagram over the past few months,
Mm-hmm.
and it has built my following. It has built my business.
Wow.
And it is something to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about TikTok, but there's also, there's TikTok, and there's, honestly, I'll complete out and say, I don't have time to build that stuff. I don't have time to do it. I've always been nuts. I've always done silly videos and stuff. I mean, I recently unearthed my first ever video I posted.
Nice.
And that was 14 years ago. It's a pretty funny video. It was right in the midst of everything crashing and going down. And
I want to see it.
Yeah, well, you know what? I will post it again shortly. But it is on one of my YouTube channels, all the way at the bottom.
Nice.
Right? So it's there. But the thing is that, TikTok is a 3-minute video. Reels is 1 minute. Reels is tough enough for me, but man, the value is there, man. Right?
Yeah, the value is there. You get what you put into it, really. I mean, it's just, I'm sometimes I struggle with creating content, like original content, and it is definitely time consuming. The thing that I notice in people that are consistently creating great videos is that number one, they enjoy the process, and number two, they built it into a habit, a daily ritual. So like in the same way that in the old days, people would just cold call in the morning, right? Nowadays, people wake up and they're filming themselves waking up and, basically documenting their day. Like, oh, started out with coffee with my girlfriend or whatever. Then we went to XYZ place, and then we went to check out, or we went to go do an open house or whatever. I mean, they basically document their day, just little by little snippets of the day. And
you mean like me taking a selfie of what we're doing now?
Exactly. Yep. Like either a selfie video or a selfie picture.
Wait a minute. Let's do that. Let's actually do that. How cool is that? So I'm documenting that. Exactly.
That's awesome. Yeah. So little things like that, it just throughout the day, it's like capturing moments, moment to moment. And yeah, it's a lot of fun once you number one, figure it out. And number two, like connect with your audience, because those people will appreciate your what you talk about, for the most part, within reason, of course.
Exactly. And one of the things that you're really big on is the organic nature of everything that we're doing, right?
Yeah, the organic way of generating business. Yeah.
Tell me about the organic nature of everything we've talked about so far and what we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah. So it comes down to just being your authentic self in these different profiles, right? And I say that self-consciously because I got a green screen back here, and it's
I know hilarious. You do.
I was planning on doing this at a different location, but anyway, I'm here now and I'm grateful for it. But being authentic to number one, to yourself, and sharing content and information that's in alignment with yourself and who you were in the past, who you are right now, and who you're going to be in the future. And constantly communicating, being useful to your audience. What's like in our functions as trainers, right? We're here to help our community grow their businesses, right? And so, what we're thinking about them on when it comes to content, like this content that you're creating for your audience now, this is information that they can take away and put it into action immediately, right?
Right.
So that they can grow their business, right? Profile
Right.
optimization, just these different strategies of TikTok that I mentioned, creating those profiles on these different networks, paying attention to the notifications. All of these things are just ways of just amplifying your message, right? In addition to the old school ways of generating business, door knocking, cold calling, texting, there's the new things like, your CRM system, making sure that's on point, all that stuff.
Yeah, and it's really important for people to know how to find you and where to find you, because there's this thing called the reticular activator system, which was taught to me by Joe Stumpf many, many years ago. And basically what that is when you decide to get involved in something, then that person will see all of that. And it also has to do with real estate agents as well, because correct me if I'm wrong and give me your opinion on this, is that when you become a real estate agent, you're now a public figure. So worrying about whether you're personal on Facebook, personal on Instagram, whatever it is, it all molds together. So people are actually going to Facebook first before Google to see if you are who you say you are. And then once they do connect with you, they will see you everywhere. What do you think about that comment?
Yeah, for sure. It's absolutely a fact. I mean, people are going to find you. And that's another module that I train on is search engine optimization. What got me into my career was and got me out of the restaurant industry was a friend of mine he was a personal mentor. He started out as a friend though. And he's a guy that's literally, we share the same birthday, but this guy was a senior architect for Amazon.com. And this was back in the early days of Amazon. And he actually turned down a job at Facebook because he went on his own. He ended up selling, it was like a crypto accounting software to Edward Jones or some big conglomerate banking. Anyway, I'm telling you about this mentor that I had because he really guided me on like what the future was, right? And so I built my whole career on anticipating the changes, not just in real estate, but in any business. I've worked with a variety of different types of businesses digitally. I had my own agency. I had over 50 clients under management at the height of that of that company. But my passion is really the real estate industry and following the players there and helping real estate agents and brokers and agents grow their business.
That's fantastic. So all right, so we've got strategies that people have, and they have implemented things that, maybe things aren't working, or maybe they're not getting where they should. Is it a matter of consistency, or are they missing something when they think that Facebook sucks or the leads suck or whatever? What are they missing?
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me of that song. You know that song?
What song?
That was on Top Gun.
Okay.
Cheesy. You never close your eyes anymore. You know that song?
Yes, I do.
You lost that love and feeling.
Yeah.
Not you, but that's the song. You lost that love and feeling by like the Righteous Brothers or something like that.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yep.
The whole point is like you're not gonna be consistent on these social platforms if you don't love it, right? But it's not really about the platform; it's about your audience, right? So if you think about your perfect client that you've ever had, you can create content around that. So that's like one of the key things that you can keep in mind when you're creating videos. Just think about your favorite clients that you've worked with in the past. And when you turn on the camera and you start filming, you're just thinking about them. You're connecting with them at the heart level, right? Heart and mind. But just, that really helps. That's one thing I notice people trying to create video for just random people, like just maybe a family member but it really helps to think about your one target client or target prospect that you want to attract into your business, and creating a video looking at when you're talking to them, you're thinking about them and how you can help them. And so that's one way of doing it. Another way is, you just evaluate, right? You use the 80-20 principle. That was a game changer in my personal life and in my business life as well. It's just complete. So I'm sure you're familiar with that, but you basically do an analysis of all the activities that you're doing and see which one brings you the results that you want in your business, right? So if you had a 1 year where you did like 42 deals in a year, you'd be like, what did I do differently that I'm not doing right now, right? Was it door knocking, cold calling, open houses, for sale by owners, contacting expireds, whatever it is that you did back then when you got like those 42 deals in a year, or whatever that number is for you that was most successful, then you're going to just recreate those habits and strategies on a calendar, right? And just make sure you're living in alignment with the thing that you have on your calendar, so that you can get those results that you did in the past. And if you find out that those old strategies are not working, that's when you look into innovation and other ways. But it's once you've exhausted those possibilities is what I specialize in, and finding those holes. And my consulting that I do now, it's all customized based on who I'm working with. And it's it's 12 weeks. It's like a 3-month training that I go through with my clients, and we go through a variety of different modules, all tailored around business growth.
That's really cool. A couple of things you said I want to approach and talk about.
Sure.
In the Digital President by Michael Reese and Woods Davis, they talk about the ideal client profile, and
Yep.
it's your client, your VIP client, whatever you want to call it, right? Your perfect
Yep.
client.
Yep.
And they say talk to that person in your
Yep.
video, in your content. Talk to that person.
Yep.
Now, and that just is perfect for what you said. Now, the next thing is that I want to address is we talk about content. We talk about being consistent with content and being consistent with what's working. And if you forget, you need to go back to it, because it might hurt your business, right?
Mhm.
But then, you look at how much content should you be doing? And this is a question I get a lot. And I want to go back to 2 comments.
Mhm.
One by our buddy Chris Smith, who says, give him the $1.80 version of you. Give him your 2 cents 90 times a day, right? And Gary Vaynerchuk, who says, you think of something, post it. If
Yep.
you do it, do a live video. I mean, keep doing it. I mean,
Yep.
being out. Now, how does that make sense? Is that the way it should be for a real estate agent, being everywhere?
Yeah, I mean, being everywhere, it depends on your bandwidth. As a real estate agent, if you it depends how many deals you're doing a year, right? There are some automations that you can do on your profiles that can help you save some time on creating content, because creating a video is easy. Posting it takes longer than creating it sometimes, especially if you're playing on all the different networks. But if you master one individual platform, and you just want to build a following there, then you can go ahead and do that based on the content you're creating, right? If you want long form content where you're educating people and you're taking 10 minutes or longer, you want to use YouTube. You could also do Facebook now with Instagram Reels. You can create content there. But I think it's just short form. It's more short form on Instagram and TikTok. So those are ways of generating business that way.
Right. There's also IGTV as well, to put it there. So talk to me about Think Status. Talk to me about, you just started talking about your program. Let's go right into that. Let's talk about exactly what Think Status is, what it does, how you work with people, and what your goals are.
Yeah. So Think Status is my personal private consulting firm that I've been able to, that I established it over a decade ago, because I was teaching a class on digital marketing, and one of the agents within my office, and I made sure it was cool with Michael, my broker at the time, if it was cool that I did this, and he's like, yeah, go right ahead. And so this agent, one of the agents was like, Hector, after one of my presentations, one of my trainings, she's like, Hector, I want you to do this for me. And I was like, okay, let's talk about it. And so I kind of figured out, and this was before agencies were a big thing. There were advertising agencies where you can put ads on benches and stuff like that. But from my experience, there was no digital marketing agencies. And the ones that were around, I researched them and I found out what they were doing. And I just got my own version of it. And that's what I offered, because all of these agencies back then were like thousands of dollars a month. And it was completely unaffordable for a typical real estate agent from my perspective. And so I recreated that, and I did it in a smaller scale, in a way that was manageable for me and giving the results to my clients that they wanted.
So, all right. So with Think Status and your coaching business, talk to me about the actual program. What do they go through? Where you're starting and where do you hope to get to them? Is it all an individual basis?
Yeah. So if you're a broker and you want to establish a stronger presence online, or do some specific ads on recruiting, or just promoting your listings, for example, we go through modules on that. In addition to company training. So I've had brokers hire me for a quarter, for the 3 months, and I go into the clients. I go into their office physically or via Zoom to deliver the 12 modules that have been specifically tailored on the topics that the broker wants me to cover with regards to. So I send out a questionnaire, figure out what the broker or the client wants to learn about, and then based on those responses, I give them solutions that are in alignment with best practices that have worked over and over and over again throughout the years to get them more business.
So what do you think is the most, if people are going to come to you and they're going to ask you to talk to you about coaching, is there one thing that you think is overall the most important thing that they need to focus on that you will help them with?
Yeah, it really comes down to where your heart is at and what your primary objective is as an individual who either owns a real estate company or who is in the process of building their team or is in the process of just becoming a new, whether you're a new agent just starting out. It really comes down to just, that clear vision of what that person wants to accomplish and living in alignment with that. Because I was guilty of, when I was a kid, just getting bombarded with all of this different information and like all these different goals that people would want for yourself. But like, if you know what you want in your heart and in your mind, and you know how to get there, then, you don't need a coach necessarily. But if you're clear on what your objective is, what you want to achieve, and the steps that are involved in that, then you could do everything on your own. But if you want someone who has experience, like my buddy, my mentor who got me into technology, that got me out of the restaurant industry into the real estate industry, he really just showed me how the world was changing through Google paid advertising. And so that was one of my first campaigns I did with my mentor. Was like, we tried to sell these meditation CDs because he was an Indian dude and great guy. And so we did a Google pay-per-click ad and we ran it for I don't know how, a month. And this was when Google ads were brand new. So I really, I got my hands dirty with online advertising very, very early. And so I knew what the hell I was talking about, and the same thing, I researched TikTok for 2 years before I started teaching about it, back when it was called Musical.ly. And, it was great just to kind of see it. I kind of went on and off it. And anyway, I just saw how it was impacting our industry and the people that were getting results with it. And it's been really cool to see the changes and the transformations happening there.
That's another thing that you and I have in common is we both started Google ads, Google pay-per-click ads, AdWords when it first came out. I was getting like a town homes for sale or a town, that AdWord for 2 to 5 cents a click, right?
Wow.
Now they're like 30 to 40 or $50 a click, right? But I will tell you, the same thing happened then that is happening now. The leads coming in, the leads suck, right? That's why companies and teams are going to, we'll give you an appointment, not a lead anymore. We finally, it took us 20 years, but we finally got it, right? Okay. So I'm a stuck agent. I do 12 deals a year and I want to do 20 to 30. Is there anything that you can help me with to jumpstart my business? I've been doing 12, 13 deals a year for 3 years. What do I need to do?
What are your daily habits is what I would ask you first. What are you doing every day when you wake up till the end of the night? What does your day look like? Based on that, there are things that I can tell you to do. Contrast it or compare it to a calendar of a top performer, and then just fill in the holes, right?
Yeah. That's really important because I work on several different things in my business, in my coaching business: sphere of influence, schedule, and scripts. Because everything you do is a script.
I love
everything you do is a script, right?
That's right.
So that's what I work on. Hey man, I want to thank you so much for coming on. I think status is a really big thing. I'm really impressed with what you're doing. I love the content you put out and everything you're putting out. Everybody should go look for Hector on Instagram at Think Status. And how else can people get in touch with you?
I have my website, thinkstatus.com, is where you can connect with me on all my social media. I've got another TikTok account called Real Estate Mastery. And so I'm putting real estate specific content on my Real Estate Mastery page on TikTok. But for the most part, everyone can connect with me on thinkstatus.com, schedule a consultation, and follow me on all the different platforms that I'm engaged in.
Well, that's excellent. So we've got it scrolling on the bottom, his number, his website, his email address, plus his Instagram handle there. So I ask everybody two things, talk about two things at the end of every broadcast. The first one is, how can I help you grow your business?
Well, Dave, I've always appreciated our friendship first and foremost, and these conversations really bring to light like just all the things that I've accomplished in the past and going into the future. I think that as long as we stay connected and we're thinking about who we can help and who needs our help, we can tag team and help each other out that way. I know I'm in Southern California, you're in New Jersey, soon to be Floridian. Just kidding. I don't know if you're going to do that or not, but like,
Yeah.
But either way, I just appreciate our connection, our friendship, and I think that's the best way for us to collaborate. Just stay connected, find out ways we can best serve our clients, and do it.
Absolutely, and we're going to do that, and we're going to support each other through our collaboration. May it not be formal, but it will be informal as we support each other. And everybody out there listening to this or will watch this, you have to understand that collaboration is a huge thing. It does not mean that you're helping somebody make money, but it does mean that you're supporting them. You're supporting their business, supporting their livelihood. And if you see somebody you like on social, don't be afraid to support them. Don't be afraid to tell them. Don't be afraid to comment and share their stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, one of the biggest insights I ever gained from going to these. I mean, I used to be a seminar junkie, going to Tony Robbins. I've been to like every Tony Robbins seminar, volunteered at his events for many, many years, decades. Even now, I'm on the list to volunteer whenever I want, but I don't. I now go as a participant just because it's more fun. I mean, you go for different reasons, right? In certain stages of your life. But I went to a T. Harv Eker seminar. Do you know T. Harv Eker?
I know who that is. Yeah.
Awesome guy, back east, raspy voice guy, really strong delivery. But one of the things that really transformed my life was what I learned at one of his events. And he said, when you bless that which you want, you'll get it faster. So when you bless what you want, you'll get it faster. So the story that he brought up was like he was driving down a bad neighborhood in the city somewhere, and people started throwing like cans or like pointing at him and like ridiculing or just talking bad because he was in a nice like Lexus or Jaguar. He was in a nice sports car, and what he thought was like, if instead of people hating on the success that he has, if they were to bless the success of others, they would receive what they want faster because it becomes more congruent with their future self. Instead of hating people, you come from a place of that's awesome. And that's what I see my students, some of my early students that I've had have become so astronomically successful that it's like I bless their success. I bless what they've achieved for themselves because it's just, what I say in my mind is like, your success is my success. Right. So for everyone I've worked with. Right. And
it's like,
yeah.
It's Sekou is a good friend of mine, co-coach, and he coaches me. I coach him. He loves hearing about our personal transformations, but that's what it's all about. My dad always said, when you saw someone who was being really successful, you heard people doing what that guy driving down the street. For us, it was good for him.
That's right.
Good for him. The guy put in the work. He did something. Maybe he was in the right place at the right time. There's no such thing as luck. Everybody listen to this very carefully. You make your own luck.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I want to thank you so much for coming on today. And of course, I did not forget. I know why you came. Got to get the hat. Everybody gets the hat.
It's a cool hat. I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm running low on my hat selection right now, so it'll fit right in. And hopefully, I'll take
great, man.
Do a selfie with it. For sure.
I'm gonna need some of your swag too, right? And Sekou knows all about the hat. He is a possessor of several, actually. He's got one. He's got another one coming. So, but anyway, man, I want to thank you so much for being on today. It's been really very, very, very cool. 1 second. Okay. Okay. There's so many things on this great program that I use for this that I forget where I'm at sometimes. Anyway, thanks so much for coming on. And we're going to go off now. We got another great show coming up next week. It'll be number 196. You have Hector's contact information on the bottom here. Please reach out and talk to him. And I want to thank you all for coming. Have a great day. Hector, stay on for a minute, please.
Yep.
Take care, everybody.